Hello and welcome to the Next Level Athletes Show. We got a special show today where you have your lead coaches for Vivi Athletics, Coach Stasia, and me, myself, Coach Rey. A little bit about Stasia. Let's talk about your background, Stasia, because it has a lot of layers. You are well-trained, well-developed in many areas. So let's go back to you being a college D1 athlete, playing at the highest level. Also being a club director and a club coach in volleyball, playing at the high levels in Arizona and traveling all the way throughout the states. I got to read my notes because you have also been a college professor with aviation, self-stress management. You also have a master's degree on counseling, right? Is that counseling or psychology?
Counseling psychology, yep.
Counseling psychology, mastering degree, and 20 plus years of experience also working with families in trauma treatment centers, people in addiction and recovery, or people trying to become the best version of themselves. All that being said, it's awesome that we're getting together, Stasia. We've been wanting to do this forever, and we have a product that we're going to launch coming up soon. People have a lot of questions about it. We have a lot of information that we want to share. So we reached out to our audience and we reached out to the parents, people that we have worked with, people that we haven't have worked with, and they send many questions our way. So we're going to try to answer as many as we can. And if you want to know about me, I'm Rey. I'm Stasia's husband. We've been in business now for 4 years, working together in helping athletes become the best version of themselves, and specifically on performing at whatever their next level is. That's what we like to focus on, and we like to call ourselves mental fitness coaches. My background, I played college ball. I've also served in the United States Air Force. That's where I developed my leadership skills. I've also worked in the corporate world with the managing skills and development skills of employees and programs. And I've also ran small businesses as an entrepreneur. And now I am a coach. I'm a mental fitness coach. I also help other folks with their sobriety. So I'm also a sobriety coach. So that's me in a nutshell. Together, we're the magic sauce. We help people become the best version of themselves, become mentally fit, and to excel at whatever their next level is. So how are you doing, Stasia? You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to answer these questions and just show up for people and share where we're at with Next Level Advantage and why we've created it. It's fun. So thanks for having me here with us, and I'm excited to rip into this.
Right. We're here with us together. We're doing it. I have some questions I'm going to read here in the screen next to me. We'll go back and forth and try to answer the best way that we can with the knowledge that we have. We don't know everything, but we know a lot. We have worked with thousands of athletes, and we have gathered a lot of information on how to help this generation of the Gen Z and Gen Alpha that has a whole different stress scenarios that they're dealing with on a daily basis. Very different from any generation that we had in the past. So we like to call ourselves generational advocates, to say the least. Well, so here's a question from a parent. I am worried my athlete is doing everything right physically, but is still not performing at their best. Could it be something else, right? So people learn that we're mental fitness coaches, like we're doing everything. We're doing practices, we're doing extra reps, we're doing the food, the nutrition, we're doing everything. We're staying in good hotels so they can sleep, but they still feel like there is something out there like, but can we be doing more, or what are we not doing? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if we were only physical athletes, I think we'd all be pretty amazingly talented. And I think there's a big differentiator between a mentally fit athlete that has that confidence and that motivation and that consistency in their mental body and the way that they feel about their performance versus an athlete that is relying really on those physical reps and hoping those are going to take them across the finish line. And like you mentioned, we both were athletes in college, and I feel like I leaned heavily on my physical reps. I had one of the best physical training coaches you could have, but there was times where I just lacked the mental fitness side. And I think parents are seeing that in their athletes too right now.
Yeah. And what comes up for me is think about every professional athlete that's out there. So mental fitness is, you can call it mindfulness. There's a lot of ways that people are calling it nowadays. We call it mental fitness because it's all about putting in the reps. But think about the highest, an elite athlete out there today, or somebody that you can think of. Give me an athlete. Michael Jordan, or we can think about Kobe Bryant in the basketball world. I'm trying to think of examples right now. I'm kind of going blank a little bit, but think about Michael Phelps.
Like for Tedus, Michael Phelps. I mean, that Simone Biles even had a recovery where she had to start to work on the mental fitness side. There's a lot of athletes that are coming forward talking about the need for this balance in their mental game. I think it goes way beyond mindfulness. I think that's one piece, but I think, we hear it called performance coaching, but we do like to think of it as mental fitness because it's about those reps. It's about getting the right tools, right coaching, right information, and the right reps so that you can really mentally make the changes just like you do with your physical skills and putting in those minutes a day that make a huge difference in your performance.
Yeah, I can think of right now, like Serena Williams. This became kind of a focus for her towards the end of her career because talent took her. She wiped everybody out. But eventually people caught up to what she was doing and people became a little more athletic. She started getting a little bit older and she started looking for different ways on how to develop her game. And a lot of the athletes right now, they're going into their second phase and trying to develop their mental fitness because now their physicals, like the younger players are getting to them. They're not as fast. They got to learn a couple more tricks. And mental fitness is one of their newest tricks, right? It's been around forever. Like this is not new. This is not like, by the way, you gotta work in your mental reps. But
I just want to add something. It is
go for it. Yeah.
I think it actually is a new thing because of the stress that Gen Z and Gen Alpha face is different.
Okay, here we go.
We talk a lot about this. So yeah, mental training has been around and changing the way you think has been around. But now we're dealing with athletes that are facing more day-to-day triggers and stressors. And the need for mental fitness has become paramount. It's like it's non-negotiable at this point because athletes don't have the same flexibility in their stress tolerance or in their day-to-day lives because they're constantly inundated with texts and social media messages and assignments and grades and all of this electronic bombardment. It's more of a need. It's not the same that we can't compare a Gen Z, Gen Alpha athlete to an athlete that was in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s. They're just not against the same odds. And so that's what you and I talk about a lot as generational advocates, is helping people recognize this is not a weak generation. They're not struggling because they're mentally unfit necessarily. It's just that they don't know the problem. And once they figure it out, it's like game changer. Then we're into what they need to be doing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a great segue. I got the second question here is like, how do I know if my athlete is mentally fit for the challenges ahead? And I want to tap into something comes up for me. So I want to share real quick. The generation that we are seeing today compared to even 20 years ago when we were playing and what's available to them as a stress level and what was available to us was night and day. I mean, we're talking about the era of surveillance, right? I mean, you can walk by a Tesla, you've been looked at, 8 cameras already looked at you. I mean, that is crazy, right? You go through an airport and you literally walk through 500 cameras within like a minute. It's insane. But there is so much surveillance going on their phones, just on their phones alone. Everything is electronic, so their grades, their games, their performance are reviewed over and over and highlighted. So let's think about this generation and the challenges. What are some of the other challenges that you see when we're helping these athletes or that we see often?
Well, first of all, they're the smartest generation that we've ever raised because they've been with YouTube or technology from the very beginning, day one. So they're the smartest generation, but that's also kind of their Achilles heel or where they struggle because they feel like they should have all the answers or be able to problem solve through thinking. And oftentimes that doesn't work. And it doesn't work in the worst moments. You and I know we've worked with teams and athletes. We've worked with teams that are going after championships and they choke at the worst moment. And they come to us because they've done that for 3 years in a row. And we're like, yeah, like we need to be able to have that flexibility and that stress tolerance when the pressure and the expectation is high. And unfortunately, that's when there's less flexibility. There's not an ability to roll with it. They're all of a sudden freaking out in the worst moments. And everybody's left wondering why. But you and I aren't. We've watched this happen as participants in crowds and all types of things where we
can see it coming. We're like, oh, I know exactly what's happening right now.
Because we know that it actually starts not through a thinking problem. We know this, but through a body problem where we can start to feel the shift in the energy, the tones of voices, the faces, what's happening in the nonverbal parts of our body that then start to dictate whether we can problem solve, think, and strategize. And so we're very familiar with this problem. And I think that's our passion, honestly, is helping people see this for what it is and not making assumptions that a team choked for no reason or they can't handle pressure or they're weak, which is many times the things that we hear. But instead, it's actually that they just don't have the right tools. They don't have the right awareness. They don't have the right level of support. And so they kind of don't stand a chance, unfortunately. Yeah.
So let's give the people what they want.
Okay.
Let's give them some freebies. I want to give them a hack.
Okay.
And what I want to share is you cannot think your way out of a stressful situation. So let's talk about that a little bit and let's give them a little hack. Let's give them some ideas of what's really happening in their system. Because a lot of the parents come to us, I don't know if this is a question that we have or not, but a lot of parents come to us and it's like, my kid chokes. There are certain situations in the game that he just, what we call freeze, right? The parents might call like they're freaking out, or they're anxious, or they're all of a sudden like they cannot get it right. They're a baseball player. They struck out 4 times in a row and they didn't see more than 2-3 pitches and they're done. Like that is it.
Right.
Or you don't want the ball to be hit their way. You're like, oh my God, they're freaking out. So as parents, a lot of times we want to communicate with them and give them a strategy, like do this instead, like change what you're doing, do this instead. And we know that sometimes is not the best action to move forward, right? Because you cannot, I'll say it again, you cannot think your way out of a problem, right? Unless you do what?
Well, I mean, yes, and we're speaking very general right now, right? So every athlete's going to be different, and that's part of why they need a more advanced performance system to figure out what works best for them. But in general, if we're speaking very in general, what they need to be doing is going bottom up. So they've got to start to work with, my body is shutting down, or I'm starting to feel like I all of a sudden don't want to be in the gym, or I'm all of a sudden feeling sleepy, or all of a sudden feeling pissed off and agitated about everything. And these are warning signs and sensations that are happening in the body to tell the athlete, like, you are losing flexibility. You are losing the ability to use that thinking part of your brain the way that it really works. And probably what's starting to come is old pictures of places where you failed, or old coaches' voices, or old faces that people have made at you, or whatever that failure wheelhouse looks like for you. And all of a sudden you're like, why am I even thinking about this? Like, I made one mistake, or I struck out one time, and now I'm just like in the vortex. And so, unfortunately, we can't just say, oh, suck it up and let's go, or be mentally tougher, and now I'm going to all of a sudden forget about all of that. That just, if that worked consistently, like, we wouldn't be here, you know? And so the truth is, these kids are a lot more dynamic than that. They're whole body athletes. We all have different parts of our system, our nervous system, and then our limbic system, and then our frontal cortex, and all those nerdy things. But all that to say that it's really about coming in and listening to the languages that are happening and reinforcing with bottom-up strategies. So that actually looks like minimizing the threat in my system through a slower exhale breath, or looking around the gym and finding 5 red things that are my favorite color, or allowing my brain to pick up data that's basically saying it's safe here. And we can do these things in seconds. It can be happening real time. Real-time resets are really important to you and I. We've obsessed over ways we can get athletes those real-time ways that they can reset their system. Yeah. And then outside of competition, there's reps we can put in there as well that create more of that flexibility, an athlete that can tolerate more stress and pressure and still feel that confidence and that motivation that they really want to feel, so they can lead and perform. That's what this really comes down to, is helping them find that way to do that. Yeah, absolutely. So key takeaways that I'm taking is thinking problem. We call this a top bottom. You know, those are the quick strategies that we want to get. We have this amazing course. It's called the Next Level Advantage, and we go really deep into this so you can really get a clear idea. But the best way I can give it right now is thinking problems, right? So we're trying to think our way through it, and we kind of get stuck right there. And if we don't get the right answer, we're just stuck. Like, we just have, it's almost like going into a game or with one strategy. And let's say you're a soccer team and we're just going to boot the ball. We're just going to play the over and just try to get a one touch in the box. Eventually, it's not going to work. You might be able to get away with it a 1 or 2. And then eventually say, okay, I know their play. And then you're going into your game with just one strategy. So that's why we like to coach the bottom-up strategy. Because we know that when we are regulated and when our nervous system is regulated, and then the second step is when we put the right programming into the system, which we call mental fitness, we put the right programming, then what is your superpower? Your thinking will come in line. Right. But it takes a lot of reps. It's kind of like what we say is like, you're not going to become an expert with 5 reps and be like, I'm going to do breath work today, and it doesn't work. It's like, oh, okay, I quit. There's certain ways to go about it, certain ways to try this out, be like, when I'm in this scenario, this works really well for me, but maybe not in other scenarios. And it takes practice, just like going into the gym and putting 3,000 reps on touches, right? Yeah, and I want to share an example of this. Actually, I was working with an athlete this morning, and they were talking about how all of a sudden they're lacking the confidence. And then there's like, and I think I'm burned out and I'm lacking motivation. And this is what we hear as parents or coaches. And even as athletes ourselves, we're saying these things, right? And I try to tell people is like, that's just your thinking brain trying to kind of figure out why you're feeling what you're feeling. But you've you've got to come in and figure out what actually got tripped up. So for this athlete, they're trying to get to the next level. They're trying to push themselves. They're trying to get that next thing. And what's really in the way is what we were just talking about, some of the limbic, the subconscious stuff, the belief systems of what this athlete believes about themselves. Are they good enough? Then it turns out that's where your emotions live. So we started breaking that down with the athlete. It's like, hey, do you think you're actually feeling some fear about whether you can get good enough? Are you actually annoyed or angry? You have to put in extra reps and you're not just good enough right now. Are you actually embarrassed that other athletes are better than you? And that's really what it is. It's having more awareness for the athlete to be able to go a step deeper than this just fly-by thought that the thinking brain is sending, and recognizing through awareness, like, oh, there's more going on. And it's not that you have to go all the way into the deep end. It's just having the awareness so you can get back quicker. And that's really what being a whole body athlete is, and what we really believe in the Next Level Advantage is about, is helping athletes roadmap this out and be able to have these quick fixes instead of parents and coaches having to do this. We want the athlete to gain that confidence in themselves because they understand, this is how I'm wired, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and this is what I do to fix that. And that's where change really happens. That's
Absolutely.
Really about.
Yeah, I love it. I want to do a second touch on the subconscious and kind of give the folks a different idea, but that is your operating system. That is really what is helping you make the decisions when you need to make them. That's where you put all the data, you pack the data, and whatever data you put in there, when you're trying to think, that's what's going to come out. So if you're thinking like, oh, I can't hit the curveball. Oh, I can't hit the curveball. I can't hit the curveball. When they throw you that curveball and you're like, oh, curveball is coming, I want to hit it to right field. It's like you have programmed yourself that you cannot hit that curveball. So magically, it's not going to happen. It's going to create a lot of frustration. A lot of times they say, my kid is really angry. Why is my kid angry all the time? Yeah. Well, probably they're putting the wrong data into their subconscious, or they're probably putting the wrong data into their operating system, and they're not getting the results. I'll be frustrated too. I'll be pissed. I'm like, why am I not able to hit that? Like, what is happening, right? So I just want to tap into that.
But I just want to say, like, part of what you're doing is you're describing thoughts, right? But what those thoughts actually are belief systems, and those live deeper. Those live deeper in the brain where we first were developing, and they're very impacted in there. And I think parents and coaches are always surprised when these belief systems show up in athletes. It's like, what are you talking about? You're the best player on my team. Or what are you talking about? Like, you always do this. You're great at this. Well, that's a top-down strategy that, like, if the athlete could think their way through and believe that, they already would have done it. They would be walking around feeling confident. So we have to look at the, like you said, the processing center of the system and help it reboot. And those are the reps outside that I was mentioning earlier, where we've got to put some time in outside of competition to kind of rewire the system, is what we like to call it. And then when we're in the game, of course, I can't sit there and be like, oh, am I angry, sad, or embarrassed right now? Like, that's probably not going to happen.
You ain't got time for that.
Yeah, exactly. So real time, that's got to be really fast, really impactful, really quick, able to get the athlete back in line. Like you mentioned, that these different states that our safety system can go into, we got to make sure we're managing those with very specific skills. And what we found, as you mentioned earlier, is that we've worked with thousands of athletes. And what we found is this is when they get the confidence. This is when they get that motivation back. This is when they feel like they're the leaders they want to be, and that they know they're capable of being. They've seen themselves play at these high dynamic levels, and now they can maintain that more consistently. And that's what mental fitness is. That's the gift of why you put the reps in. That's our skin in the game. That's why we're here. We love hearing when athletes get that place where they're like, I just feel like me. And we're like, yeah, that's the stuff. That's the sauce. That's why
we're helping athletes not just to have one good game. We clearly name our coaching Next Level Athlete because we are helping them be better where they're at now. But when you get to that next level, which we're all working on a next level, we're all working to making that elite club team, or making your elite high school team, your varsity, or you're working on making that D1 level. You sign, but you still got to make the team. You still got to perform at that level. Or you want to have that pro contract, or you want to go for that Olympic opportunity. I want to get the medal for my country. We're always working on that next level, and we coach you in a way that is like, we're not just going to give you the quickies, right? So we're very addicted to this. We want the quick fix. We'll go to TikTok, we'll go to Instagram. You might be watching this post and be like, oh, I love doing this. I'm just going to start breathing, or I'm going to start doing this and doing that. And it's like, that is good, but without the right coaching, you will not be able to consistently perform at that level. And that's where we thrive. That's where we like to work with, is that athlete that wants to have that consistent performance. Yeah. And the best way to say it is that it's going to take a lot of reps, because it took you 5,000 reps on how to throw a ball. It took you 10,000 reps on how to hit a hockey stick and hit a puck. You know what I mean? It took you, I don't know how many flips in the gymnastic gym to make sure you get the right landing, to make sure you get the right balance. So what people don't like to hear is like, I'm not just going to give you one repetition and all of a sudden things are going to be fixed, but it's not going to take you 10 years. You can really start resetting your mental fitness within a week. You can really do some quick resets, and then we start maintaining.
Yeah. And you said next level athlete, and this is really about giving the next level advantage to people is that's the advantage, is that you start getting a win from day one, minute one, the first rep you put in. But you're right, over time is where it really builds and gets that profound change that people are wanting. So like what we describe is like, if we were to use a number system, it's like, you start to do your mental fitness reps and maybe you feel that your stress and performance, kind of shifts a little bit. Like you try a breathing exercise and your stress level goes from like a 10 to a 9 to an 8. We think these are huge. You might want more. And that's what comes through the reps. That's what comes through that mental fitness target that we establish with you, which is that specific personalized amount of time that you need to put in, the minutes you need to put into your day to make sure that these changes are compounding, where we're really building on top of each other. And that's where we really get that interest and that payoff, is just those little payments in. That's when it just boom, skyrockets. And we see athletes completely transform because they're doing these simple things often.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions that I had, that one of the parents is like, so great, I would love my athlete to start doing mental fitness. My athlete is they already searched the things on YouTube. They're all geeked out. They're just kind of lost. They're just like, what works, what doesn't work? That's when we come in. We give you the organized content, but they're always wondering like, how much training should I do? I mean, they're already doing it, right? So they're doing physical training 1 hour for 3 or 4 times a week, right? Now they're doing technical training probably 1 or 2 hours for 2 to 3 times a week. They're also doing team practice, and these are probably, if you're in season, you're probably doing 4 a week. Now you have your tournament play. This is all physical training and technical training for your skill. And they're like, so how many hours do I need to put in to now be mentally fit? This is something that comes up all the time that I always love to answer. We came up with a number, it's called MFT. Yeah. So why don't you take this one on?
Well, yeah, because we really wanted to solve this problem. Like we kept hearing, I'm busy. We know. But if you're not putting your time into the right area, it's like an insurance policy. Like you got to protect your investment, so your physical marks are huge. That's awesome. Like keep it up. But the mental fitness is what's going to take you to the next level and help you stay there. And we've watched so many athletes get to that level and then drop out, get to that level, transfer, get to that level, not be able to maintain and can't start. And that's why we really had to come up with an idea of what is it that people need to be putting in. And so you and I worked hard to create a formula, and we looked at all levels. We looked at Olympic, pro, college, club, ascending, like an entry level athlete. And we were able to figure out that if you take your total training hours for the week, and you just rattled off a bunch of them. So let's say that was 20 hours, which would be a lot. But probably a lot of our athletes are in that boat. Yeah. So then you take that and you times it by 10%. That number is your minutes that you need to dedicate to your mental fitness to balance your equation. And that can look like a lot of different things. That doesn't mean that they're completely consuming videos, watching everything, doing everything. It can be that they're in our 4 stripes system and maintaining and putting in the minutes that way. It can be that the minutes are going towards more advanced self-care practices that actually help the athlete reset. And so it can be a lot of different things that go into that number, but it is the mental well-being of the athlete that we're looking at. So it's that mental fitness and that balance point. We've talked a lot about how our athletes don't know how to have downtime. They don't know how to really recover. I had students tell me that they literally thought that was an awful idea because if they slowed down, they'd never speed back up. And that was probably one of my saddest moments, honestly, as an educator at the college level, was hearing, student athletes say, I can't slow down. Like, I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I won't be able to maintain it all.
I was on campus with you. They were saying like, I forget to eat. I mean, these are narrow space engineers, right? Like these are brilliant, so one of the most brilliant minds that we have on the education system. And
Right.
it's so intense and so competitive, very similar to an elite athlete trying to make it to the Olympic, pro, or D1 level. So I put them there, like I'm working with them at the same level. These are brilliant and they're hardcore. They're like, no, I'm all in. And they forget to eat. They're like, have you eaten today? They're like, when are you planning on eating? Because I'm sitting in your class. I'm taking your class and I'm sitting down as a student with them. I'm also recording the class, but I'm taking my notes and I'm being part of the conversations. And they're like, no, dude, like I have not eaten breakfast and I don't know. I don't have time for lunch because I have flight. So they're also pilots. So I got flight. I might get a granola bar and maybe I eat dinner tonight. And I'm like,
Right.
your brain is not going to operate correctly. You know what I mean? You're not helping your brain.
Yeah, it was like we talked about all of them. There wasn't enough sleep on board. They looked at sleep as an unnecessary thing. You know, there wasn't enough hydration. And so unfortunately, like what a lot of these we had athletes in our class too, remember?
We did,
so
yeah.
What a lot of the student athletes were dealing with is crash and burn. It's just like we don't make enough minute to actually be taking care of ourselves. And we're talking about a small amount of minutes. So if we just took the calculation that we just did, 20 hours, and then we put that into minutes, 1,200 minutes, you know, right? I think I'm doing my math right. And then we take 1,200 minutes and we take 10% of that, that's 120 minutes. And you divide that by your week, divided by 7, you're looking at roughly like, 15 minutes a day, 15 to 20 minutes a day that you're really looking at. How am I doing? What do I need to be mentally fit today? What am I doing to recover? Even if it's for 5 minutes, I'm sitting outside and getting morning sunshine exposure so my brain knows to go to bed at night. Just these simple hacks that are game changing and reprioritizing that we're humans and we do need breaks and we do need downtime, but we've got to be creative. We are busy. We're not minimizing or ignoring that, but we've got to get creative at how we stack habits and how we bring things together. And to your point, this is why YouTube can't really get you mentally fit all the time and it can maybe, but you're guessing. And we don't even have time to guess. We want to just get you in, get you ready, get you focused, give you the exact things that we know work with thousands of people, help you get your unique thing by asking yourself the right questions so that you have your unique athlete stamp of that's your fingerprint, that's your blueprint, because not every athlete is the same. So we don't prescribe the same thing to every athlete. We give a lot of menus and varieties, but in the end, you figure out what works for you. And that's what this is all about, is you figuring out how you work, why you work that way, and how to optimize that consistent. And those are the life and sport wins that we're after.
Absolutely. I love it. And for, if you're listening, you're an athlete or you're a parent and you're like, what is that MFT again? So think about, we're just talking about training hours, right? So you do 1 hour or a physical training or working out, anything that goes towards your sport that week. And it might change from week to week, but we're not counting traveling time or going to the hotels or anything like that. Just that training time, because we're also going for training mental fitness. So that's the number that we're looking for. So if think about, you have a game, it's an hour and a half. You have 2 games, you got 3 hours. You practice 2 hours a day for 4 days a week, right? So you just keep adding those up, and then that's your number for the week, and that's where we want to work with. And it's just doing those incremental, just small steps take you a long way. Small steps make miracles.
If everything is possible, even the miraculous of taking one step at a time. Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, and it's a good one. And I think that it's important to realize that the reason we spent so much time on this formula was it is scalable. So if you have an athlete that's only practicing 6 hours a week, that's 6 minutes a day average, right? That's appropriate for them. They can get enough resetting and awareness building in that time. As you increase and as the pressure and stress and demands and consistency increase, then we do need to put a little bit more emphasis on it. But again, it's not like I'm saying for 35 minutes you're consuming videos and taking tests and quizzes. It's not like that. It's just figuring out ways to implement it into your day so that you have a system that you can repeat your results with. Yeah. And that's the key. That's the key performance indicator that's different.
Making it work for you, right? Some people might be breathwork folks. They love breathing. Some people might be meditation. Some people might be journaling. Some people might be cold plunging. Some people might be walking outside. There's a million things out there. And the key is, with the right coaching, with the right system, closing that gap, getting you the right strategy that works for you and helping you troubleshoot it, and then putting in the reps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I got this question from a parent. My kid is in college, just finished their first season. They did not start. They are very frustrated and they want to quit. But they were always the best performer in their team. And now they feel like they don't even know the sport anymore. Heard this one a couple times. What are your thoughts?
A lot. Yeah. I think this is where I really like to pan out, and I like to think about the athlete as a whole body athlete. Okay. So when we think about a freshman going to college, we've got to think about more than just sport. They've left their safety system. They're probably not living with their family anymore. They're into a new safety system. They have a new team, new system, new way that the coach coaches, new teammates. They're not just competing within their age group. When we play club, we compete within our age group. We're 18 and under. The biggest age differential is maybe 2 years. You go to college, there's a 4-year age differential.
Sometimes
or possibly 5 or 6, depending. Now that COVID's kind of out of the picture, less. Still, we have redshirt people, and they've been a part of that system for longer. So we have to recognize that puts a lot of stress on the safety system. And it puts a lot of noise into, oh my gosh, all of a sudden my sport doesn't feel as simple. And for some athletes, that can be a good thing. That might be like, oh, sports where I just get focused, I laser in, and it's like, I just don't think about any of that. I don't miss my family anymore, or whatever it is. But for some athletes, they don't have that ability. And so those are the ones that might need an additional support system to figure out, like, okay, there's a lot going on. And how do I work with that part of me? Most likely, I also, one of the things we talk a lot about in one of our advanced modules is how to communicate. I probably don't know how to communicate to my coaches, my parents, myself, what's actually going on with me. And so we've got to gain some awareness around that. Or what we find, maybe a better way to say that, is the athletes that do gain awareness around that thrive. And they tend to forge better relationships. They feel more of that safety. They feel more like they belong. And all of a sudden, the performance just comes right back online. But I think it's better that we were working with when you talk about this. So she actually didn't hit her wall until her sophomore year. And she was crushing it her freshman year and never really kind of went through any of that. She actually started as a freshman. But in her sophomore year, all of a sudden, stress mounted and there was more pressure on her. And she was feeling more of feelings of being away from home and all of these stuff. And all of a sudden, she literally said to me, I don't think I know how to set anymore. Like, I literally don't. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how many thousands of reps do you have in that body of yours? Like, of course you haven't forgotten how to set. You got this. It's like, but this is what we're talking about. Like, the physical, the thinking is blocked. And this kid can't access it for nothing. Even if she tries, she can't get there. And so once we gain that awareness and we gain that remembering and we gain that ability to self kind of regulate, which for her was music, she just started having to think about a song in the middle of a game. She had to tell a teammate, hey, if I say this keyword, like, just give me a smile and sing a little song for a second with me. And, and just like, but very obviously simple, quick real-time reset. But then all of a sudden she's playing out of her mind again. And this is what we're talking about. Like, I don't think as parents and coaches, we realize what athletes are really up against and how to actually support them. And it's not the ways that we think. It's like, give them the gift of understanding how to help them self-regulate and soothe and how to communicate with people so they can get the help they need and how to real-time reset so they can feel good in the game. Like, these are the wins that people want. Yeah. And I know parents want to see their athletes feel this, and we're heartbroken when they're not. I think it's important to mention, like, you and I are the parents. We are the parents of 2 athletes. One didn't choose to keep playing, but the other one is choosing to really pursue a high level. And we're having to have these conversations all the time with our athletes and helping him recognize what's really going on with him versus what he thinks is going on with him. And he's gaining that awareness every time. And we're talking to Gen Alpha. He's 13 years old, but he's gaining this awareness, and we're just seeing his performance explode because of it. Those are the wins.
Yeah. If I can share anything with parents, is that you have put in so much work in this journey, right? So I'm talking to you, parents. You've been on the road many weekends. If you're like us, almost every weekend. You're on the road. You make the drive. You pay for the hotels, and you pay for the hotels that might have a kitchen because there's certain food that you want to eat and certain nutrition you want to have so you don't crash for the games. You are paying for the training sessions. You are paying for the right gear. I mean, we go all out. You know I'm talking to you. This is real. If you're helping an athlete that wants to play at the pro level or at the D1, D2, D3 collegiate level, fighting for a scholarship and promoting themselves for a scholarship, or even going for the Olympic level, you have put in the work. If you are wondering, is there anything else? How else can I help my athlete? This is it. This is the biggest gift that you can give your athlete, is the gift of them being mentally fit. This gift is all about helping them thrive at the next level. So right now we're putting all this effort on their physical training, and I want to tell you their biggest gap when they get to the next level is going to be mental. Everybody there is good. Every next level that you get, everybody's good. What's going to set you apart is when you crash, when you don't make that play, when your teammate doesn't make that play, where your team just gets trashed and you used to win every game and now your team is horrible and you have no idea why. How are you going to respond? And that's, I think, as parents, that's the biggest fear. It's like, okay, so they're going to go to the next level. They're going to have new challenges. I mean, you might be a coach, who knows, right? But the biggest gift you can give your kid is the gift of mental fitness. When stuff hits the fan, how are they going to respond? And they're going to be able to use that pretty much anywhere. It's going to help them in relationships. It's going to help them in their job, what they choose to do in the future. So I just wanted to share that because that's a gift worth giving. Now that we're working in the holiday season, we're talking about, we just get a lot of parents wondering, like, am I doing everything? Is there anything else that I can be doing? Because I feel like there is something missing. This is it. This is the mental fitness part of it.
Yeah. And I think I'll speak on the athlete side with having worked with so many of them. What they tell us they really want is they want to feel confident. They want to feel motivated, and they want to be leaders. And I think that what we tend to focus on when we try to teach those skills is honestly a little bit misguided. It's like recognizing that confidence and motivation are emotionally based habits. And so if you can actually understand what's going on and why you're feeling the way you are and how to tweak that, that's really the game changer. And that's the leadership, the being able, like you said, to communicate, to do all the things. Like, that's what builds those wins in life and in sport. That's the game changer that they're looking for, that everybody wants, but that it's like, our mentor Joe Getson, who is a very seasoned success.
Mr. Joe.
He always says there's no secret sauce. But then later he's like, well, you guys are the secret sauce, but there's no magic pill, right? There's no magic pill. It's not going to happen like that overnight. Like, you're going to have to put some work in, but the work you get is that confidence, that motivation, that leadership, and that next level advantage that you really want to have. And so why are we spending so much time on physical reps, so much money on physical reps, when we're not ensuring that our athlete can handle the pressure of the next level? How are they going to do that if we don't arm them with the right tools? Just like you said, you got to have the best shoes, you got to have the best mindset. And that's not the choice where I'm like, yes, I'm just going to think positive all the time. Thinking positive is awesome until it's not awesome. I'm just going to be mentally tough and grit it out. Well, if we could all mentally tough and grit it out, we'd all be freaking next level champions, but that's not what we're seeing. And so we've got to get more real at talking about what the problems really are, which we've identified is the unique way of their world, their stressors that they face, what they're actually encountering, and get more passionate about actual viable long-term solutions, not just quick fixes. Let's really get in there and help the athlete understand themselves so that they can troubleshoot no matter what it is, whether it's, like you said, a career promotion 10 years from now, or becoming a parent 15 years from now, or whatever. It's like the rules of the game are the same, but we obviously want them to have those immediate wins in their performance and in their sport. That's where we're at right now. That's what matters to them right now. So we got to give them the tools so they can start practicing the right stuff and seeing those game-changing wins.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So obviously a lot of our people care a lot about getting to the next level and getting recruited. And so a big part of what we do supports that. But what would you say to a parent that's looking to help their athlete with recruiting? And where do you feel like we fit in and we help it maybe be different for that athlete in their pursuit of scholarship?
Yeah. So in my career, I coached at the college level as well. I did some recruiting. And when you go on these trips, I can tell you, depending what tournament we're going, we know what level we're facing, right? So a lot of times we go into a tournament and we know that the kids are good, right? We just want to take a peek and make sure that the stats kind of match the game. Oh yeah, the kids are good. Every kid in that group is amazing. So when you get to that level of recruiting and there's probably 300 kids playing and you need to make an offer to at least 20 of them to your team. What I want to tell the parents is that you're really looking at, I don't know if the language existed then, but we created this language. Is like, is that kid mentally fit? How is that kid interacting with other kids? How do they act when they take him off the field, when they put him on the field? How they interact before the game, after the game? How do they interact with the parents? What is that communication like? So is mental fitness helpful for recruitment? I don't know anything else better that help your kid for recruitment, because what happens is when you're mentally fit is how you respond to the stress, right? So in those stressful situations, let's say you lost a tournament or you have 10 scouts looking at you on the sideline. How are you going to be able to deal with that stress? Do you have any techniques that you can help regulate your system so you can stay within your game and perform? So that's where mental fitness comes in. And that's why I think it's so important. It's such a big gift to give to your athlete, to be like, hey, stress is going to come. You never know what it's going to look like or when it's going to come, but at least you're going to have some tools that you can start troubleshooting. And it's not going to be perfect, just like every play. You're not going to make every single shot, but you're going to get a lot better at it, and your percentage is going to get a lot higher. And in our course, we also do a certification. So even in recruitment, you can show a certification, a mental fitness certification, that you actually went through a course and you have some coaching, that you have a foundation, and that you do care about how you show up as a person, not only just as an athlete, as a community member, as a friendship, as somebody playing for Coach A or Coach B, that you are flexible no matter what environment you're in. So those are my thoughts with recruitment. What about you?
I totally agree. And what was coming up for me is, as you were talking about these scenarios of stress or pressure, it's like, I want to just be clear that like some athletes can get through those competitions fine. And then all of a sudden it's afterwards that they're having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, shutting down, can't get out of bed. You know, we're hearing all types of places where these things show up.
Exactly.
Some athletes can super achieve at a high level, and they can for a long time. To be honest, those are the athletes that I worry about more, because when it stops being that they can't get better or they hit a wall so hard that they can't keep going, unfortunately, that's when they come and find me or have found me in my private practice side, where we've already lost it. Like you mentioned earlier, that's the kid that wants to quit. That's the kid that is injured. That's the kid that is completely shut down and can't function. And that's why we also want to supplement with mental fitness, because college recruiters are looking at kids as investment. Are you going to serve my team for 4 to 5 years? Right. And so they're looking at the parents, the athletes themselves, and the system they're coming into and being like, can you hang here? And so when we increase school load, when we increase relationships for the first time, maybe romantic relationships, when we increase having to make my own food or get to the chow hall or whatever it is, like we've got to make sure we have some insurance there. And that's really what it stands out, as you mentioned, to college recruiters. We both recruited at the college level. Yes, we're looking for good athletes. But honestly, with club, there's so many good athletes at this point. We're looking for parents. Are you mentally fit, and how you support your kids to take accountability and ownership and be able to be the best versions of themselves? Are you allowing them to be uncomfortable and fail? Are you giving them the right tools so that they can be successful? And athlete, are you applying it? Are you stress flexible? Are you able to roll with the punches and make adjustments? Because that's what makes the difference between a good athlete and a great athlete. That's the athlete you want to recruit, is that kid that can just go with it, but not because they're faking it and smiling and telling you, oh yeah, it's great, I'm totally fine. And then they all of a sudden are melting down at the worst time in your season. But the kid that really means it, because he or she feels it inside of them and knows that they have that ability to reset over and over and over again. And that's why we do the certification. Is when you take NLA and you go through it, you're transformed. And we want the world to know that. We want coaches that are coming to look at you to know that. And that's kind of the stamp. It's what makes you stand apart, because you put in reps that other athletes haven't. That's the separation. That's what makes you go from good to great.
I think you nailed it. That is how you create separation. And that is what we're looking for as coaches. That's how why we created this. And I want to share with the parents, like, we started this business. Our clients came from college athletics and they were crashing and they were not wanting to play anymore. And they were at a very, what is that called? Tipping point at their career, if they were going to be an athlete or not, or why am I doing this or not? And there's been so much investment for so many years that, well, let's go find somebody that can help you, and maybe you want to try and continue your career or not. And they always end up going back and thriving and doing amazing, and that's the fun part. We're like, this is amazing. But the reason why we created what we are creating right now is because we learned that there's a lot of education that can happen prior to going to college. We learned that through all these years, can we give them the right information so when they are thinking about their next level, they can have an advantage. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking. That's why we are talking about recruiting or you going to the next level, because not only your athlete is being recruited, parent, you're also being recruited. And they're seeing how you interact on the field, how you interact on the court, how you greet your folks. Are you a team member or not? So keep that in mind. Hope that helps for the recruitment piece.
Totally. And I mean, I empathize with parents so much because you've got a full load on your hands, trying to help an athlete deal with stress and pressure on a consistent basis and having all the life things that they're going through within that recruitment process. Yeah. And I think a lot of parents feel overwhelmed and unsure of what to say or how to say it. And we kind of are just doing the best we can. But one of the reasons that I also really am a fan of Next Level Advantage is because it's empowering the athlete. The athlete gets to feel that sense of confidence. That athlete gets to get more resilient and more flexible. That athlete gets to feel like they're taking ownership over what they want for themselves. And that is the best form of an athlete. That athlete is tried, tested, and true. Like, they're going to show up solid. And I think as parents, we're trying to empower that, or as coaches, we're trying to create that place for our athletes. But what we've talked about today, there's a lot of stuff that's just missing. And so even with the best of intentions, little steps to bond a team or to help athletes get a little bit more mentally fit by setting goals doesn't really make a big impact, because there's just so much more going on behind the scenes and internally for that athlete that they've got to start to kind of sort through, or they have the opportunity to sort through. And when they do, we just see these like incredible outcomes. And like, that's why Ray and I do what we do, is because those are the moments when athletes just shine and when they just share how happy they are with what they've been able to accomplish. And they try to tell us like, oh, thank you guys so much. And we're like, well, you had to do it. You're the one to put in the reps. You're the one that had to say yes to the system. So yeah, you can thank us for organizing it or whatever, or being in your corner, but really we're thanking you back because you're the one that made this happen. And that's the best feeling, as people that are mentoring athletes and trying to support parents and coaches in this really big task that we all are up against right now. There's a lot going on for these young athletes. And so it's not an easy task, but we're here to row with you and to help you know what, where to go and how to help these athletes in the best way possible. Yeah.
Love it. So Stasia, we have this parent. We worked with them in the past. We know the result, but this parent talked to us one time as we were working with them, and they were saying like, hey, my kid is not speaking a lot. I know they're under a lot of stress. They don't want to communicate with me. They're still doing all their things. They're going to school. They're doing their club. They're doing all their things, but they're just very, very quiet. Is there anything I can do? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we're big on is just being curious and being a really good question asker. It's just kind of trusting the process with it too, like giving it time. We've talked about, you and I, that it can take up to 8 seconds for a developing athlete in these age frames that we're talking about to answer a question, for them to actually take in the question, process it, think about an answer and speak it out, can take up to 8 seconds. And that's in a simple place. If an athlete is experiencing stress and overwhelm, that could take a lot longer. So what I find a lot of the time when people aren't communicating, it's one, we're not maybe asking a question, we're giving a statement, we're telling somebody how they feel maybe. So instead it's just asking. One of my favorite questions to ask after a game is like, how did that feel for you? And they get to tell you. And then you have these moments where you can say, are you open to feedback? Do you want to hear what I have to say? Or do you just want to share? And just these initial settings of conversations tend to just really help a lot. Immediately though, if I'm being honest, when you said you have an athlete that's not talking a lot, and if I'm thinking about the person that you're talking about, initially when they came, they were very overwhelmed. And what we don't recognize, or the untrained eye doesn't recognize, is an overwhelmed system is a system that is freezy. And so this person looks like they're smiling and nodding and listening, and they might look like your most coachable kid or athlete that you have.
But the happy face nodder a lot. Yeah.
Literally like just smile and nod, just tell them you're talking about it. They're not listening to a word you are saying because they are so overwhelmed and so internally stressed and so internally pressured to be perfect or to be like looking like they have it together that they look outside like the most coachable person, but they haven't heard a word you said because they're so overwhelmed and they're moving more into a freeze, shutdown response. And this is why that athlete starts to look like they're moving slower, and you can't figure out why all of a sudden they look like they're moving slower to the ball, or they're reacting slower, or they're just kind of deer in headlights looking, and you're like, what just happened? Or they're getting in the car and looking that way because they just had a really overwhelming competition session. Part of it is just the athlete recognizing that and then being able to, help you recognize that, when I'm in freeze, I'm not talking a lot. I'm actually totally in survival. And it's incredibly sophisticated how special our systems are at adapting to this, and how it is literally the worst thing for performance. I mean, it just stops performance in its tracks. And so when we're hanging out in these higher states of stress and activation and charge and pressure, we're more likely to get into that state faster. And so it's just recognizing, again, as a parent, we don't want to be putting more energy into that. Why are you shutting down? What are you okay? Like, what happened? Instead it's just like, hey, how did it go? What do you think? Do you even talk about it right now? Maybe they need a little space. So.
And I love that because a lot of times as parents, sometimes we put pressure on ourselves that we're not asking the right questions. So we just throw another one right away, or we want them to, when I say them, is our athlete or our kid, to answer a certain way, to know like, okay, cool, like you're listening to me. Great. We're expecting a certain response. And if we don't, we might get activated and we go the other way, which is a fight response. Right? So a freezy person with the fight response is probably not going to turn out very good. You know what I mean? Because the other person's going to go farther away and then just want to go and leave, disappear, and then the fighter's just going to go. We coach this in our training, which is the stack, and we explain the stack and how emotions work through the system. But one thing that I can share with the parents is the fact that when we ask questions, we got to be open to responses. We got to be open to engagement or a yes, and we also got to be open to they're not ready to talk right now or a no. And we can always circle back. And that's our job. It's like, I'm here, I love you, I can always circle back and provide that safety. That way, when we do ask the question again, or if there's an opportunity for another question, there is a space to communicate. But I think that's one of the biggest ones that usually happens as I talk to parents is, well, they're just not answering to me, or they just said no. Like, that's all they say. And that's okay. I'll also tell them like, they answer. You know what I mean? You did get an answer. You might not like it, but you got an answer and you can build from that. That's something we can work with. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
and sometimes it's too much on both sides, like it's too amped up after a game or a match, for an athlete and the parent. And so it's better to not talk about it right away. It's like better to just reflect and think and then come back and you can even agree on that, And so I think that, again, as parents, and I'm speaking for us, like we're the best of intended, we want to help. And sometimes we don't recognize some of the dynamics that are going on. And that's why a next level athlete is able to recognize that, able to say something, able to have more awareness even. They might not know the athlete you and I are talking about from the beginning. That athlete had no idea how shut down they were. None. And they were still able to play pretty well. I mean, they're very physically talented. But once we brought that alignment back in and they were able to be a whole body athlete, it was just game over. I mean, they're crushing it now. So that's what it's really about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. I love this topic. So we created a course. I think this is the best product we have put together to date. This is with the athlete that is looking to reach their next level. Like we said before, they want to reach their elite varsity team, or they want to make that club team, or they want to make that D1 or get that scholarship, or they're looking for the pro level or Olympic level. With that athlete in mind, we created this product for them to crush it at the next level, for them to gain the mental fitness they need to thrive at that level. Not only to get there. So what we say is that you're going to get there, but do you have the skills to stay there? And we know that it's mental fitness because you're playing with athletes that are as good as you are. So with that said, we have a lot of questions about our course. People came to us from all different sides. Does he do this? Does he do that? So this is the spot. We're gonna answer as many questions as we can. I got some written down. We'll go through them. We will answer them to the best of our abilities here. So what is exactly the NLA course? What does it include? How does it work? What is this all about?
Yeah, so it's 7 modules, but really the first 5 modules are the key to learning and really making sure you have that foundational piece of knowing what we say, the right tools, the right coaching, and the right reps. So we've got to make sure that you have that in a system that makes sense and that it's unique to you. And so that's really where those first modules come in. Then we put it to the test. We give you a challenge. So we do a 7-day challenge within our community so that you can practice and we can see like where do things fall apart or where is it that you crush it? And did we see a difference in your performance that week? And we get to look at all of that together. And then in the end, we want to make sure that you know how to be a leader. And so the last module is one of the most important modules, but it's just learning how to lead. How do you communicate? How do you make sure you're doing well? How do you keep, making sure you have the habits you need to continue your success? So the cool part about the course, and I think what makes you and I so excited, is the course can be done once a week or it can be done in a 2-hour sitting. And that is where we have just taken the best of the best and all the tools that you need and just siphoned it into something that is clear, concise, and easy to apply. And that's actually, I want to give credit to Rey because you're the reason that is the way that it is. I tend to be a little more long-winded and a little bit more detailed and nerdy. And so we really were able to take the best parts of the connection science, the neuroscience, and the habit science and just get it into a way that's easy to understand, gets you those wins right away, and gives you that system that just keeps on repeating the success that you want.
Yeah, and I just want to share, this is something we've been working on for about a couple of years now. We have gone through, or we have worked with about 1,000 athletes so far, gone through a system, and we keep tweaking it every time. Just keep tweaking it, and this is our best version yet. It is nice and short videos. It is dedicated for you to get the information right away and then to put in the reps. I don't even feel like it's a course, but that's the best way to describe it because people are going to look at me like, oh, it's a course. It is a course, but it's also a system. So the biggest thing that we deliver with it is speed. Is how can we get you the information into your hands as fast as possible? So that's why it's created in this system. And then it's how can you put in the reps? So our goal with this course is to get you to a challenge. You're going to get all the information that you need. You can, like you said, you can do this once a week. And you can take 2, 3, 4 weeks to watch videos to get to the challenge, or you can knock it out within a week, get ready for the challenge. And then in the challenge, what it is you get to build your own system. So you really start putting the mental fitness reps. It's a 7-day challenge. And with the system that you practice, it's a 4-stripe system, which is pretty cool. You build your own stripes. You get to know about the stripes when you're in the course. And then you put your stripes to practice every single day. And then at the end of that, you can do that over and over in your performance. I mean, you can do that in anywhere in your life. Once you have the 4 stripes figured out, you just continue developing them. But then you go into what it is the leadership module. Because now that you have knowledge and you're start practicing your mental fitness, the next level is how do I talk to myself and how do I talk to others? And that is the part that a lot of the folks that finish our course come back and it's like, okay, I want more. What else can I do now? And it's like, how is your self-talk? How is you talking to others? So that is already included into the course and added on to it. Plus the graduation, plus a community to help you stay on track. So this is how we communicate with anybody that's in the course to keep your momentum when you start the challenge, when you finish the challenge, check in, all that fun stuff. Plus a certification that you get to give away when you get recruited and be like, hey, I am mentally fit. I am a next level athlete. I am certified as a next level athlete. Plus there is also a Q&A. So we do this every week. We sit down. You're going to send questions our way. We answer your questions and you get to get coached by us every single week. You can watch it live or you can just watch the recordings, either way. Yeah. But this is what we learned was the best way to serve the athletes today for them to get them ready to the next level. It's very successful and it's done on a community level. And we know that when you do things in a community, you're 95% more likely to do it. If you just do a course and you just buy a course, you're about 10% likely to complete it. And we know that is a good stat. So if you just want to buy the course and just do it on your own, awesome. we are here for you to win. We want you to win. So we want you to join the community. It's all within the same system. Communicate there, communicate with us, come to the live, and you're going to be 95% more likely to do it. And if you really want to win, invite a friend. Be like, hey, let's do this together. If you have somebody with you that you know and you're doing it together, amazing. If not, no worry. There's a community. You'll find a friend in the community to support you through the process as well.
Yeah.
But that is the course in a nutshell.
And what I love that you said, and I want to just highlight, is that this has been vetted and created for athletes by athletes. Like, one of the things that I really care about is listening to what people need and continuing to refine and improve, and not just making it about you and me and what would help us. But that's not really what this is about. It's really about showing up for this group of athletes and helping them get the tools that they need, get the right coaching, and getting the right reps. And that's what builds the wins. And we love that part, because that's what allows athletes to get to the next level and stay there. And that is why we're here. That's why we do what we do, is we want to secure those starting positions, to earn those scholarships, to stay in school, to graduate, whatever the goals are. It's like, this is a huge part of that. And we've listened to thousands of athletes, like you said. And so we're not just guessing. We love this part, and we can't wait to see what you guys think of it. We're so excited to share this.
Another question that people ask a lot is like, how long do I have access to the software? I would like to take this one on. It's a lifetime. As long as we have the software, you have the information. So you have lifetime access to this product. You can access the course anytime. And as a bonus, you can access the community anytime. If you finish the course for the lifetime of the community, you can always come back and check in and see what's happening with the next level athletes.
And I just want to expand that a little bit, Rey, and talk about the community. So I think it's important for people to recognize, like, this is truly group scenario coaching. And the reason we do it that way is because what we found is when we get athletes actually talking about this stuff, one of the top things they say is, I didn't know I wasn't the only one.
Yes.
I didn't know other people felt that way too. It actually makes me feel better knowing that other people are thinking about this stuff.
Yes.
So we purposely chose to coach in group coaching format so that everyone can learn from everyone. We can normalize a lot of the stuff that they're worried about, and just help everyone get into solution, and also troubleshoot very specific scenarios, but that I guarantee 3 or 4 or 5 other athletes relate to. And so we have athletes that might relate to being more on the anxious side. So when we answer a question that relates to that, that's going to ping all of them. We might have athletes that actually get angry and have outbursts and, throw things and get into that reaction of stress. And so they're going to relate more to those scenarios. But the questions come from the community. We teach within our community. We elaborate and continue to help people understand the stuff they learn in the modules so that we're applying. Because we don't just want to teach, we want to apply. We want to live these changes. Absolutely. And so that's a big part of why we've chosen these models for them. Yeah,
the people that are wondering, we monitor our community. We run a legit, open-minded community. So there's nobody, if you're saying something that it's not supposed to be said, you're not going to be part of the community. It's a privilege to be there. You get to do this. You don't have to do it. So we monitor that. We're as soon as somebody posts, we'll get an email, and we know exactly what's happening in the community. So don't worry about it. We are on it, and we are there to support your athlete and making sure they're well taken care of. So people wonder what happens in there. We're on it.
Not like we have to delete a bunch of posts. So we have a community, which we love. We have good people in it. And part of that community is tied to our leaderboard. Rey, can you tell a little bit more about the leaderboard?
We haven't even talked about the leaderboard. That's one of the coolest parts. So it's in the home screen. It's also in a tab in the course, so you can access this anytime. But the way the leaderboard works is the more you contribute to the course, the higher you go on the board. And also, the more you contribute in the community, the higher you're going to be in the board. So we take the 3 winners every month and we give them prizes. So it's another incentive for them to stay connected to the mental fitness community, to the next level advantage community, and to stay contributing, stay in touch.
Yeah. And just, it's such a great example of like healthy competition, healthy communication, and community building is where it's at. And you mentioned the stat earlier, but we're 95% more likely to succeed when we have a group and a community of people, of like-minded athletes that are like us, that are going through what we're going through, that want the same things that we want. We're 95% more likely to integrate and live this information versus on our own, 10%. So when Rey and I were really looking at this and making these decisions, we absolutely intentionally chose this as one of the main priorities, was making sure that athletes could see their progress, they could see where they were in the process, and they could be immediately implementing those wins and sharing it with a group of people. We're so excited to have people, more and more people in this, and just to share this part of things. It's so awesome.
I love it. I love it.
So I think what we know is we're in an information overload, and there's obviously so many places that athletes can get information and parents can get information. There's YouTube, there's social media, there's just searching online, there's AI, like so many places. And One of the things that we get asked a lot, and that I want to ask you, is what makes us different than them just being able to use all of those resources?
If I can say everything in one word, is speed. There is nothing wrong with going on YouTube and you can save a post every day and you create your own library. And the one thing that I can tell you is you can create your own system. It has probably not been tested. You become the trial. So you start trying with yourself and see what works, what doesn't. And you have not had somebody that have tested it with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of people. So the difference is YouTube, TikTok, social media, they're all great. They might give you hints. They might work. That doesn't work. They might be helpful. They might not. It's up to you. What we provide is the speed. We've been doing this for 20 plus years of experience of coaching. We've been working with over thousands of athletes. We have vetted this in many different platforms. We have worked with full teams. We have worked with individuals at all different levels, from high school to college, and different levels of D1 and D2 athletes as well, and D3 that we have added lately. So speed is the key. If you want something that is better and then is proven that works, this is why you would not do YouTube and you would do a next level advantage type setup. If you are okay for the next 3 or 4 years going to YouTube and saving things and creating your own library, go for it. You have probably 1 year to get recruited, maybe 2. So you start thinking about how much can I gain with the time that I have. Same reason why you go into privates. Same reason why you're going for technical training. Same reason why you're doing extra reps. You want to get to where you want to a little quicker. So for me, it's speed.
And let's not forget our NAIA and our JUCO folks. It's not just NCAA. Like, we have athletes.
I play JUCO. I'm a JUCO kid. For all those out there.
Just know we have all the love for all the college systems and pro level as well, and like Rey said, Olympic level. So it's just figuring out your level. What is your next level? And I think that that's the key. And I love what you said about speed. I think it is so important to get quick wins and to feel those changes. And I think that what I would add too is it's strategy, it's habits. Can you do it day in and day out? Do you have a system that you like enough or know how to tweak when you need to? And I think that's huge as well. I think that we coach the speed, but we also coach the strategy and the habits. And both that together is what Rey described. It's more than a course, it's a system. It's a way of living that you start to adopt. We live this way. We have 4 stripes within our house. We live this style in how we know we're optimizing our performance. And yes, we're not competing like athletes are anymore, but we still have our habits and the things that we're keeping up with. And so it's just a universal way of just continuing to make life worth showing up for and to find that next level that you're looking for. So we do like to break it down into a simple way for people to understand. It's like speed is one of the most important things, and speed really comes down to having the right information. You've got to have and know all the stuff that we've spent 20 plus years knowing, dialing down, listening to athletes, doing all of this. That's how we deliver speed. And because we're taking all of this really complex information and making it bite-sized. And then it's strategy. You've got to have the right coaching. You've got to have the right habits and implementation. So you know why you're doing what you're doing. You know how to tweak it. You understand how to make those things happen. And that's that system. The system is your reps. That's what you put in all of the time to make the change happen. And so you've got to have a system you like. You've got to understand what's getting in the way of you wanting to carry out that system and those reps. And that's really what makes the next level advantage, the speed, the strategy, and the system. It's not one part. And what we see in a lot of other approaches is it's one part. And one part is great, but what we found is one part wasn't sustainable. One part didn't get us the transformations we really wanted to see in the athletes. Exactly. So that's why we really prioritized it this way. And like I said, your genius of simplifying things with my background and information of the neuroscience, connection science, and habit science, bam, it just got to all come together in this really cool way that's helping athletes. And that's why we're here. That's what we want. It's not about anything but that for us. We just want to see athletes getting to the next level and staying there and feeling good while they're doing it, that they have a quality of life inside and outside of competition. That's, to us, is the magic right there.
Is this just a series of videos?
No, it's a lot more, because we really know that we need to help athletes. And so to help athletes, we can't just sit them in front of boring videos. So we had to make sure we created a system. We had to get them fast results with speed, and we had to create a strategy that was applicable and worked for them. So that's way more than just some videos. It's all about application and breathing into the next level advantage.
Yeah, and I want to say, think about Duolingo. So it's not just a course, it's also celebrations. It's also going to give you tracking of your points. It has a leaderboard, it has a community, it has coaching with Q&As. So no, you're just not going to be watching videos and clicking things and being done. This is very interactive, and this is going to keep you on track. So how long are the videos, and how can athletes fit this into their schedule?
I think this is the best part. We've created a lot of products. This is our fastest, quickest, and easiest way to get to it. The videos can be done in 2 hours, or they can be spread out and done once a week for 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks, right? So it's really up to the athlete how they want to do it. But we like to get in, get it done, do the 7-day challenge, and then get into the coaching of it. That's the best outcome we can create. That's why we made the videos super quick, super easy to apply, and ready for the athlete right when they come in.
Yeah, and I just want to add, the videos are, I think our longest video is 4.5 minutes. And if you get it to 1.5 speeds, it's a lot shorter. So they're, on average, we got about 1-minute long videos, or 2-minute long videos, but it's all about quick information and being explained at a very clean and a very simple way.
Efficiency. That's really the word I would use. Is like, you could hear, oh, it's only 2 hours. That must not be a lot of information. It's a lot of information. And there's some videos you could benefit from going back to and listening to a few times. But overall, it gives you what you need when you need it. And we reinforce it with the playbook and the community and other features that help the athlete really get it integrated into their being, so that they can live these changes. That's what we want to see. We don't just want to teach people. Like, they already go to school. Like, learning is useless if there's no application. So we want to give them the ways to apply it. And that's what this is all about. The learning had to be simple so that the application could be the focus. Yeah,
the hardest thing is, think about having a 2-hour video, and it's like, how can I make a 2-hour worth of content into 5 2-minute videos? That was by far how we kept going back and forth. Like, that needs to go there, that doesn't need to go there. How can we summarize this? How can we simplify this? That was definitely the journey, and how this was so challenging in a way, because we always had the athlete in mind. It's like, I don't want them to be sitting here for half an hour listening to a video. How can we trim this out, make a big impact? I'll take this one. A lot of people ask, like, when is the best time to start? Now. It's always now. And the reason why is because you are training now. So anytime you're training, that will be the best time to start. What about off season? Well, that might be the best time, because you might have the capacity to create the space to knock this out a little faster. But if you're ever asking, like, when should I start? It's kind of like telling yourself, like, when should I start losing weight? Probably right now. When should I start working on feel better about myself? Probably now. Like, don't wait for the week to go by, and don't wait for the holidays. The answer is always now, because if you're interested in this and you want to become the best version of yourself, the question is always going to be now.
Yeah, we call it closing the gap, right? It's like, the sooner I close the gap, the better I feel, the better I play, the better I like everything. So why wouldn't I close the gap starting now? We always say, like, getting started should feel exciting and terrifying at the same time. Like, if that's how you're feeling, you're on the right track. You're on the path to change and metamorphosis and transformation. And that's what we want. This is not just a light lifting, like, oh yeah, I went through a course and I learned 3 things. Like, this is about living this change so that you can really get to the next level and stay there, And so you're right. The time is now. If it's a yes, it's a yes. Like, click yes.
Separation season, baby.
Yeah. It's like, if you want to separate it's time. The right time is now. And we have athletes that have completed this in season. We have athletes that have completed it out of season. There really isn't barely even an out of season anymore, if we're being real. So it's really just, that's why we made it so simple, so that athletes could get in, get the information they need, get the quick wins, and be able to start applying it from day one.
Can I ask questions during the weekly call?
Yes, we love when athletes ask questions during the weekly call. We would love for you to be there if you have time to attend. Absolutely. Like Rey said, it's also recorded, and we make it really easy for you to go through those and figure out what was addressed if you did miss the call. But yes, we want you to ask the questions. We have all kinds of ideas, but we're not you. We want to serve you. So the more you can ask questions, the better we can serve. So yeah. There's lots of ways to share your questions too. You can do it on the live, or you can pre-submit. So it's really up to you. But yes, we want to hear from you for sure.
Absolutely.
So Rey, we talk about the 4-stripe system. Can you tell people what that is and like how it looks in their world when they adopt the 4-stripe system?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 4-stripe system is the foundation of the course. Every module, you get to work on a stripe and build your own stripe. And then you're going to put them to practice on a 7-day challenge. So the 4-stripe system is the practice of what you learn. So throughout the course, you're actually building your stripes, and then on the 7-day challenge, you get to put into practice. And you can do this as often as possible. Even after you finish the course, you can come back to the community and be like, hey, I want to do another 7-day challenge, and you want to support the community. But the 4-stripe is the foundation of your mental fitness, and every 4-stripe system is unique to the athlete. That's the coolest thing. We'll give you all the options, so what exercises work, what things to focus, what will your challenge will look like, and it's only catered to you. You're not doing somebody else's 4 stripes. You get to build your own, and that's what's cool about it. And then you'll know how to continue evolving your 4-stripe system.
So why I really like the 4-stripe system, or why we have it, is so that athletes can start to focus on building next level days, consecutive days in a row. So when we are more aware and we are paying attention to these 4 pillars that are very important to mental fitness, which we help you learn and identify, and as Rey said, make it unique to you, it's that maintenance of that system that creates the changes. That's what creates the next level days, the next level seasons, the things that we really want, those byproducts like wins and fun memories on the bus, and all the things why we compete come into play because of the 4 stripes. You're living the changes, you're practicing them, you're tracking it so that it becomes a habit, and then it becomes a lifestyle, and then it becomes your identity. It's who you become. And that's what really matters. That's part of that transformation.
So is there a specific time that I need to finish this by? Or what if I don't finish everything? How does that work?
So you said, like, you know, the coaching part is unlimited, and honestly, the course access is too. But we put 60 days on there because we don't like athletes going past that point. We want every athlete that comes in to complete, and there's ways and triggers that we make sure to follow up on that, so that if an athlete begins Next Level Advantage, they complete it. So we create a 60-day window to really encourage and make that marked, but we like athletes to finish it sooner. We tend to think that that's the best way, because then you get to take advantage of all of the coaching and all of the implementation. But every athlete's kind of unique in how they learn and how they do information. So we put that 60-day window on there, but you have the access, you have the coaching and support, you have the reminders, and everyone gets through it. That's the key for us and for you, is that we don't want to start people and not see them finish. So that's why we have all these different ways that we make that happen. So I think the biggest thing with people that are busy, that really are wondering, like, is this the thing? One of the things we always hear is, how soon will I see results? So can you kind of speak to that?
Honestly, right away, when you start digging into the course and start being part of the community and then start doing your exercises, and you start evolving as an athlete. So you start you're taking your first steps, becoming aware of your mental fitness. I want to answer this last one. Will this program help me if I'm already performing well?
I love this question, because we have really high achieving athletes that aren't really feeling a lot of stress. They're kind of crushing it. And what I always say is yes, because when athletes don't have the internal mental fitness or the awareness, then we see this amazing until we're not amazing. And that is devastating. Sometimes we've worked with athletes that come to us because they were amazing and then they had a season-ending injury. They didn't have the internal scaffolding or the internal way to navigate something like that. They literally fell off the rails. And so, yes, elite athletes that are crushing it need the mental fitness too, because it either if they even find another level that they didn't even know was there. That sometimes surprises the parents and the coaches, or it's so that they can definitely manage when or if the bigger thing comes. And almost always the bigger thing comes. I was talking about that athlete earlier who was elite her whole life. She played a key position, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this kid literally was like, I don't think I've ever even played this sport. And so that's what I'm talking about. That kid needs something. Luckily, her team was connected to us, and she was able to get those resources and get back on track with literally like 2 quick laser sessions. So yes, the answer is yes. The highly competitive athlete needs it. I think I'm a great example of that. I think I was able to still perform, start, shine, compete in college really well. There was times when I just crashed and burned because of injury or other things. And I needed something like this to get me through those times. And it just wasn't available. So elite athletes are not exempt from needing mental fitness. I think all athletes need mental fitness.
I will say absolutely. I will say don't cut yourself short. Think about, you're still doing physical reps. Why, if you're already good, like why are you doing physical reps? Because you know there's a next level out there that you want to reach. So if I tell you that the biggest ceiling and your biggest gap is increasing your mental fitness, and you become aware of that, and then it's a choice. Then you choose, like, I don't want to be better. I don't want to have another skill. I'm okay with the 1 or 2 tricks that I have and they work for me. It's like, that's fine. Come talk to me when you are being challenged. Come talk to me when you're not performing well. Then you're going to be looking for me because you know that you are going to be challenged. We all have a next level, and that next level is going to push us to become the best version of ourselves, not only physically, but also mentally. And you're doing the reps physically and it's working for you. But my job, Stasia's job, is to give you the message that mental reps are there to be taken and to be acknowledged. You are going to become the best version of yourselves if you put in those mental reps. So my answer is yes, absolutely. If you want to be better, you got to do mental reps. Hands down. I don't care who you are. I don't care what level you are.
I couldn't agree more. And I love what you said about the ceiling. And we talk about this a lot, is just that really once you get to those elite of elite levels, there's not a big difference. There's not a lot of physical improvement that an athlete can make. We can't jump higher, run faster. Like we've already kind of tapped it out, to be honest. And so the only edge is the mental edge. That's that 10% that can make the difference between a starter and a non-starter, or an athlete that has a 4-year career with awards at the end and championships versus going through the motions and just playing. And so it's a lot of it about that. A lot of my skin in the game with this is mental wellness, is having people like their life. And so that's also a byproduct of the next level advantage, is you're learning a lot about yourself so you know how to feel like you and how to improve that. And that doesn't mean whether you're a perfect performer or you're a developing performer. Everybody wants to like what they're doing. And what Absolutely. I find a lot is actually those high achieving athletes don't have a lot of self-identity outside of sport, and they need it. They need to develop, learn who they are outside of their amazing athletic success. So that's where the mental fitness comes in for them, helping them become more well-rounded, maybe helping them have more understanding for their teammate that isn't able to achieve as high, but how to pull them up with them and lead them.
Right.
So this is where we're talking about different skill sets, right? When it comes to being mentally fit, we have athletes that are on the side of struggling, with some mental stuff, with anxiety, fear, shutdown, all the way to kids that are crushing it, but maybe are learning how to be better leaders to themselves and others. And that's different, right? That's going to take them to the next level and really show up as a captain or a leadership role, or being able to really fulfill that position that they're in. So yeah, I don't think any of us are exempt. If you're on the journey of being a human, mental fitness is going to improve the journey. So yeah, I love that.
And I follow professional athletes, and I hear this over and over, and it comes to the point when you're at the elite level, the physical reps are easy because you've been doing them for now 10, 15 years, however long, depending where you're in your career. But waking up at 5 a.m., that's easy. Like I do it every day now. And then waking up and going to the gym and doing a cold shower, that's easy for them. This is part of their day-to-day. And then I'm going to do some physical therapy, and then I'm going to go do some film, and then I'm going to go to the field and put in some reps to practice, and then I'm going to go to team practice, and then I'm going to do nutrition. Like that becomes easy. Why? Because there is a pattern, there is a learning that is within the system. A lot of them describe putting the mental reps sometimes is the hardest thing because it's not the automatic thing, but it's where they express, they get their biggest wins because they're able to do the real-time reset. And this is something that we coached a lot. And this is what the gift that we're trying to give the athletes is, can you do a real-time reset? And what that looks like is when something within the competition that happens that you're not expecting to happen, how long does it take you to reset, right? So are you going to be pissed off about that play for the weekend or for the whole week or for the whole year? Is that at bat? Is that play is going to ruin you? Or can you reset within whatever long that reset is? How long does it take for you to come back and be at the elite level? And that is by far the best definition that I can describe anybody is like, are you mentally fit? How long does it take for you to reset? Over and over again. And the best players out there, I don't care what sport it is, they can reset immediately. The faster you can do that, the more elite you are.
Can you not only reset in the moment, but can you rewire over time? So if I have stressful thing that happened to me in the game or in the match competition, and it triggers that, and like you said, I'm thinking about it a week later, a month later, or one incident trips this whole part of my system where all of a sudden I'm questioning my ability, my talent, my identity, who I am. That's what we're talking about. That's rewiring. Like we've got to get in there and start to do a little bit to empower you to recognize, why is that happening and what am I going to do about it so that it doesn't sabotage everything. Right? So that's what we're talking about, is the resetting and the rewiring, the real-time reset and the long-term rewire of the system.
Absolutely.
With application. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Love it.
Well, Stasia, amazing show.
Yes.
We cover a lot of topics here. We're going to share this as many places as we can, but we also cover that at the end, if I can summarize everything, we're helping build whole body athletes. Not great athletes on the field. This might sound cliche, but also off the field, having a great relationship with their parents, having great relationships with their friends or intimate relationships, or coaches, athletes, teammates, how they talk to themselves, how they talk to others. That's the athlete that we like to coach. That's the athlete that we develop, and we like to call them whole body athletes. And with this program that we have put together, the Next Level Advantage, we are helping them become the best version before they get to their next level. So we start programming them. What are they going to run into at their next level? And let's get ready now. Let's not wait until we get over there and see what works and what doesn't work. And you're going to get to that level with some tools. That way, when things happen, you have some ways to react and troubleshoot.
Yeah, or even unlock the belief that you have that you can get to the next level. For many athletes that are getting recruited, there's this silent, question of like, am I good enough? Let's get after it. Let's make sure you are, but not just telling yourself, rewiring it so it becomes a belief system and an identity and a way of moving through your world. I think those little transformations are the huge pillars of change, and we just can't wait to see what those are for people. It's always exciting. It's the best part of what we do is watching people uncover this and discover this for themselves. And it's just, it's the coolest thing. And we're just excited to do it through the Next Level Advantage and together. And it's just awesome, us and our team. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. So parents out there, athletes out there, continue putting your physical reps. And this is an invitation to start putting your mental reps. You might already be putting in mental reps, but let's elevate your game by putting the right reps, getting you the speed, the strategy, and the system that you need on your hands and getting you into the right community. You can always find us at viviathletics.com. We'll have links here that you can find our products. We hope you have an awesome day. I will stay in touch.
Thank you. Take care.